Donald Trump, another day, another rule that's going to harm immigrants. Now he has made a new regulation. Department of Homeland Security has made a new regulation. It is published in the Federal Register that is going to eliminate what is called the Flores Agreement. Okay. Now, if you remember, a year ago or 6 months ago, they were separating families, and they were separating families to get around this Flores Agreement. So they were putting kids in one detention center and putting parents in another. And the reason they were doing that is that if you are in a family detention center under this Flores Agreement and you have applied for asylum, the maximum you're allowed to stay in a jail is 20 days. And then you have to be released awaiting your asylum case. And the reason it is because about 10, 15 years ago, many lawyers and many groups that represent refugees sued the government and said, that is barbaric, that you are taking a child and jailing them. It's not the child's fault. That child is here.
Absolutely.
That child was taken by a parent. That child did not have a choice whether to come or not. And now you're jailing this child for a year or 2 years awaiting this parent's asylum claim. And that is cruel to a child who never did anything wrong, to throw a child in jail for 1 or 2 years. And they showed a lot of psychiatric studies that showed the long-term damage of children who literally are being punished for doing nothing.
Absolutely. Sitting
in a jail. Well,
That's
Donald
crazy.
Trump, he says, and there's a point. There is a point here that he has. He's still a cruel, disgusting man.
Absolutely.
Okay, but there's a point. He says, I want to stop people from coming into the United States and then taking a child, and then we put them in jail for 20 days, and then they get put out into the population, and then they wait years and years for their asylum case, and then they get situated like a tree with roots in America, and it becomes harder and harder to deport them if that's what the government wants to do.
Right.
And he says, to a point, there are people out there who probably know this and know that if they take a child with them and apply for asylum, the family separations are no longer happening, or supposedly, or maybe they are still, but certainly not according to the newspapers. But to take a child and know, I'm going to be released in 20 days, versus if I don't have a child with me, it's going to be 2 or 3 years that I could literally sit there. Now, Donald Trump has now eliminated this. That doesn't mean tomorrow that every person who comes with a child is going to be stuck in jail for years. The Flores Agreement was an agreement that was signed by a federal judge. So now after this rule goes into effect, Trump now has to make a motion back to the federal judge to explain to the federal judge why this agreement is no longer valid. And then it's up for the judge to decide whether or not to scrap it or keep it. Whether it's scrapped or kept, it's going to be appealed up the chain of appeals courts, maybe all the way up to the Supreme Court. So in the short term, nothing's going to change.
Right.
Perhaps in the long term, we will see. But I will say this. Yes, Trump has a point that people bring their kids, and maybe some of them wouldn't have brought their children, or maybe some of them are not even the children of these people who are coming.
Oh, wow.
They come with other children. It happens. Okay? To be naive about that and say, no, it doesn't happen.
Right.
It happens.
Of course.
Regardless.
Right.
That doesn't mean because somebody is stupid and takes a child that they shouldn't take, or brings a child for some other nefarious reason so they can get out of jail for 20 days.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you should now go punish this child for 3 years and put this child in a jail.
Yeah.
Okay? That doesn't mean you have the right to do that.
Right.
Okay? So yes, it's what a lot of Obama wanted to stop this agreement.
Right.
Bush, but you can't, because the downside is you put a child in jail for 3 years and that child's innocent.
Right.
Yeah.
That child is innocent.
And you have no way of knowing.
You don't know
how long the case is
so as long as they don't pose a threat, you let them out. And some people beat the system. But better to beat the system than jail a child for 3 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what's happening there. Meanwhile, the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, they track immigration deportation cases.
Okay.
In 2019, they say that there are 945,711 pending deportation cases.
Nearly 1 million.
1 million people that are in deportation. What? There are less than 350 judges. That means that the average wait time from the time a person gets put in deportation to the time that you actually have a final hearing to determine whether or not you should be deported or not, the average wait time is now 713 days. That means that some people are, and I'm sorry, 713 days is almost 2 years.
Right.
People in detention.
In detention.
Okay? Some people, some cases that they tracked waited over 1,000 days. That's over 3 years in detention. Now, Donald Trump, he's spending billions and billions and billions of dollars to build a wall. He's putting 10,000 troops there to protect the wall.
Right.
But there's no money that's put into the immigration courts.
Right.
There's no money put into free legal services for people who are in detention.
Right.
There's no money for that.
Right.
Okay. You want to make a good system? Hire 5,000 immigration judges.
Right.
Okay. All right. Somebody comes to the border. They have their hearing in a week. They're here. They're not here. End of the story.
Right. But
And you'd save a lot of money.
But that would mean that he would actually care about these people, you know what I mean?
No, he doesn't care about these
that
people.
would mean that he wants a solution. That's not what he wants. He wants to put out
He wants
exactly
out.
what
He wants them out.
He wants them out,
Right.
period.
So, I mean, and it obviously shows because he wants to keep children in jail.
Yeah, and given the
Right.
conditions that keep coming out about these detention centers, I
Right.
cannot fathom how you think that the correct move is to put more people
Right.
for an indefinite amount of
That's
time
right.
in those things.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
After the triple mass shootings of last week, Donald Trump came out and he said he wanted to do universal background checks to check to see if people are crazy before they get a gun. And we said, okay, better than nothing, but that's not solving the problem. That's literally putting a Band-Aid on like a huge hole.
On a gaping
On a
wound.
gaping wound.
Right.
Right. Thank you very much.
I got you, Brad.
All right. That's putting a Band-Aid on some broken bones.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So, following one telephone call with the head of the NRA yesterday.
Right.
That lasted a few minutes.
Right.
We don't know how long. It wasn't hours and hours and hours. The head of the NRA says, this guy here. All right. He looks like he's already dead.
He reminds me of the Crypt Keeper.
Doesn't he look like he's
Tales,
dead?
Tales from the
I was going to
Crypt.
say, he looks like he's dead
yes.
already.
Like-
Creep show.
Right.
Yeah.
He looks like he's dead, this guy.
100%.
Right, and then all of a sudden he just they prop him up and they like put in some adrenaline
Puts-
shot in him and
yeah.
it just starts going.
Do some makeup on that
Yeah,
face.
exactly.
Literally,
So,
if you're
Look
jumping,
at that.
if
yeah,
you're-
Wayne LaPierre is his
Yikes.
name.
Yeah.
So, any event, after this several minute or 10 or 15 minute call, Wayne LaPierre tells Donald Trump, I'm sorry, the NRA is not in favor of any background checks, including checking to see if somebody's crazy or not.
Right.
So Donald Trump is now, after all of these mass shootings, hundreds of
Right.
people dead.
Right.
Okay. There's more guns in America than there are people.
Right.
Yeah.
Countries are saying, stay away.
Yep.
America's a dangerous place with all these guns.
insane to me.
Last night, in the safest big city in America, New York City, there were 5 homicides.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're not going to do it,
No, of course not.
even though both the Senate and House of Representatives wants to do it. LaPierre confirmed Tuesday evening that he spoke to Trump, tweeting, I spoke to the president today. We discussed the best ways to prevent these type of tragedies. At Real Donald Trump is a strong 2A amendment president and supports our right to keep and bear arms. The best way to prevent these tragedies is not give somebody a tool to kill somebody.
Exactly.
It is a
Of course.
tool.
Take
That's
it
all-
away. That's
Take it
it.
away. That's all it is.
100%.
Now, the president's apparent backtracking on the background checks indicates that the NRA still wields a lot of power. In Newark, New Jersey, it's leading the United States of America with the highest lead levels of any area in the United States
Oh
of
my
America.
God.
Newark, New Jersey has the highest level lead in the drinking water,
Yikes.
which means that if you live in Newark, New Jersey, or you're going to immigration in Newark, New Jersey, don't drink out of the water fountain.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, bring your own bottle of water.
God, look at
okay, that is.
Ugh.
Can you imagine? That's what the lead does to a metal pipe. What it
Oh
does
my
to your
gosh.
body.
Your
Right.
body.
What it does to your
Sheesh.
tissue in your body.
And those little chips go
Yeah.
in your water.
Yeah.
So is this only in Newark though?
This is all, well, according to this, it's Newark, but I don't know. Maybe it's all in New Jersey.
It's
a lot. I mean, I don't want to put New Jersey down, but it's a
Right.
dumping ground. You know, New Jersey's a dumping ground. You know, it's where the mob
yeah,
dump
right.
their dead bodies. It's
Right.
where chemical companies dump chemicals.
Oh, man.
I mean, you ever
Do you-
drive from New York to Newark
yes.
Airport. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just one chemical.
Yeah.
That's true.
One
No,
chemical
that is
thing
true.
after the other. So for years, Newark has the greatest number of lead-poisoned children in New Jersey. They say it comes from all different types of things, but researchers are now pinpointing the tap water in schools and homes. Newark officials have tried to blame the old infrastructure for the drinking water crisis in public statements on the city's official website since April 2018. But records show the city's own consultant informed officials in February 2018 that the water treatment performed by the city at one of Newark's 2 treatment plants is not effective.
Wow.
So this is a situation where even if it is dirty old pipes,
Right.
you as a city councilman have to fix that immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't just say, well, it's dirty old pipes. There's nothing I can do about
No.
it. But it's not dirty old pipes. It may be dirty old pipes, but
God,
even the
that's
water that
horrible.
they're treating
Right.
is not, they're not even treating it properly.
Exactly.
And it's probably just to save a couple of dollars.
100%.
And remember, we had that in Flint, Michigan.
That's what I'm about to say.
Absolutely.
This sounds
This
just
sounds like
Flint.
Flint, Michigan.
And we had Dr. Mona
That's right,
Hannah Attisha.
exactly,
Yeah.
Dr. Hannah Attisha.
Yeah.
And where does this always happen? Poor areas.
Poor areas.
All right,
Absolutely.
right? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen on Fifth Avenue.
Oh,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, where Donald Trump lives.
Right.
All right, Barron Trump's not drinking lead-poisoned water.
Right.
Right. Only the kids in Newark, New Jersey.
No, they make sure to only drink all their water out of plastic
Yes.
bottles. As much plastic as they can
Don't
get in
care
those
about
water
our
bottles.
world.
No.
This is very scary. Brazil's
man.
Amazon rainforest. It's responsible for 20% of the oxygen that we breathe on our planet Earth. Okay, 20% of the oxygen
That's
that
so
we
much.
20. Think about it.
Yeah.
20% of the oxygen that
Man.
we breathe on planet Earth comes from the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. This year,
Yeah.
this summer, there has been more fires and more devastation to the Amazon rainforest than ever recorded in the history of mankind.
Oh my God.
The Amazon, it's referred as the planet's lungs. However, there have been 72,843 fires in the Amazon rainforest this year. Environmental activists and organizations warn that if the Amazon reaches a point of no return, the rainforest will become a dry savanna.
Oh my
my
God.
Now, images from Sao Paulo, which is the biggest city, it's in Brazil.
Right.
Maybe Rio is the biggest. I'm not sure. Either Rio or Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
But huge city.
Huge.
1,700 miles away.
Right.
Okay, 1,700 miles away. That's like
That's not even
that-
far.
1,700 miles.
What, for
The
how
2,000
big
miles?
those fires
that's like
are?
I would say that's like New York to Michigan is 1,700 miles, or maybe
Yeah.
even New York to Chicago.
Way those
Okay,
fires are
right?
going.
Something like
Right,
that,
something
right?
like that.
Why don't you
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
how far
Okay.
is it from New York to Chicago? Belgium Kim. We'll just sit
just
here
get-
and wait for you to do that. Okay?
No
Because
problem.
these forest fires are 1,700 miles away. Okay? And you can see the fires
Right.
from Sao Paulo. It's like Chicago's on fire and you can see them from New York.
No, that's
Chicago's
crazy.
just 800 miles away.
Oh wow.
Okay, so I wasn't even close.
So-
what is seven? It's like Colorado to New York?
I feel
Or
like
California to New York?
California is not
No,
that.
that's like 3,000.
I don't know.
California is like 3,000.
Is
don't
it?
know.
Hold on.
Now the European Union
Damn,
satellite
that's crazy.
program.
Yeah,
could
that's where they
see-
see the
Yeah.
smoke.
Can you imagine? It's like seeing it from
That's
across
like
the United
from like
States of America.
St. like in Midwest.
I'm just trying to get everybody an
That's-
idea how
yeah.
bad these fires
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It's
Yeah.
1,700 miles from New York to Colorado
I
Springs.
said to Colorado Springs,
Wow.
Colorado. Okay, so Colorado Springs is on fire, and you look up over the Hudson River. You say, "Where's that fire coming from? Colorado?" I mean,
is
that's
crazy.
that's crazy, right?
It's dark enough to make it look like nighttime.
Right.
Oh my
So now
goodness.
the
Plunged the city into darkness.
now the
man.
European Union satellite program
Oh, that's what it is.
Copernicus.
Yeah.
Copernicus released a map showing smoke from the fire spreading all along Brazil to the East Atlantic coast,
my
even
gosh.
spilling over to Peru,
Look at that.
Bolivia, and Paraguay. Environmental groups have been campaigning to save the Amazon, blaming Brazil's far-right president, Jair Bolsonaro, for the endangerment of the vital rainforest. Bolsonaro has made campaign promises to restore the economy by exploring Amazon's economic potential. Basically, many of these fires, if not
Right.
all, is from people who are clearing the forest
Yeah.
to either mine or plant or do something in that forest.
Exactly.
So these fires are people destroying the rainforest for their own profit. They are going to make us not be able to breathe.
Yeah.
Okay? Do you know what it's like not being able to breathe? Have you ever not breathed before?
That's scary. That's
Okay.
like one of the scariest things to me.
You know, like it's like when you owe like a lot of money to people.
Right.
And you have no money in your pocket.
Yeah.
And it's like you're feeling choked to breathe.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's worse.
Yeah.
It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse. You know, you're like, oh my God, I can't breathe. I owe all this money and blah blah.
Right,
It's gonna be
right.
worse.
That is
It's
scary.
gonna be worse. Now, just weeks ago, the director of INPE. Well, who is INPE? I don't know who they are. But he was fired after he defended satellite data that showed deforestation was 80% higher in June than a year earlier. Oh, so this is from the environmental protection
satellite
company
research, yeah.
that represents Brazil, and
Yeah.
the president fired him. Activists believe Bolsonaro's pro-business stance may have emboldened loggers, farmers, and miners to seize control of a growing area. That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.